They dumped scrap leather at her barn for 9 years until she built a $500,000 tool belt empire for 9 long years. An old tannery dumped piles of scrap leather behind a lonely barn on the edge of town. Most people saw nothing but worthless waste. But 34-year-old Sarah Mitchell saw something different. She was a struggling single mother who owned a tiny farm and barely earned enough to feed her son, Ethan, every morning. Before tending her animals, she walked past mountains of discarded leather. Her neighbors laughed. "Sarah," they joked, "one day you'll be buried under somebody else's trash." She simply smiled and kept working. Before we continue, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Now let's continue. Sarah had learned basic sewing from her late father, who once repaired saddles for local ranchers. One rainy afternoon, she picked up a few leather scraps and stitched together a simple tool holder for herself. It wasn't perfect, but it was strong. A local carpenter noticed it. "Where did you buy that?" he asked. "I made it." The carpenter immediately offered to buy it. Sarah couldn't believe someone wanted to pay for something she had made from discarded scraps. That small sale planted a dream. Every evening after putting Ethan to bed, Sarah worked under a dim light inside the old barn. She sorted leather by color and thickness. Some pieces became hammer loops, others became sturdy pockets. She experimented again and again. Many designs failed. Her fingers became sore. Her sewing machine broke more than once. Still, she refused to quit. She believed every failure was teaching her something. As more leather piled behind her barn, the jokes became louder. "She's building a junk museum. Nobody wants handmade belts. Get a real job." Sarah never argued. Instead, she focused on making every belt stronger than the last. Soon, construction workers began recommending her products to friends. Word slowly spread. Not because of advertising, because the belts simply lasted longer. One afternoon, a regional hardware store manager visited her farm. He examined her work carefully. Then, he smiled. "I'd like to order 100 tool belts." Sarah nearly dropped the one she was holding. She had never imagined making so many. The order meant weeks of hard work. But it also meant hope. For the first time in years, she believed her future could change. The demand kept growing. Sarah hired 2 local women who had struggled to find steady work. Together, they turned the quiet barn into a small workshop. The same neighbors who once laughed now watched delivery trucks arrive every week. The leather scraps that everyone ignored were disappearing. Not into landfills, into high-quality tool belts used across the state. The tannery manager eventually visited Sarah's workshop. He couldn't believe what he saw. "We've been throwing this away for years," he admitted. Sarah smiled. "You saw waste. I saw opportunity." Instead of charging her for the leather, the tannery offered a long-term agreement to keep supplying the scraps. What had once been garbage had become valuable. Sarah officially launched her own company. Her handcrafted tool belts became known for their strength, comfort, and durability. Professional builders proudly recommended them. Orders arrived from different states. The little barn that once looked forgotten was now filled with busy workers, sewing machines, and hope. Sarah made sure every employee felt like family. She never forgot where she started. 9 years after the first leather scraps appeared behind her barn, Sarah's business was valued at more than $500,000. The local newspaper featured her story on the front page. The same people who once laughed now praised her determination. During an interview, a reporter asked, "What was your secret?" Sarah smiled gently. "I stopped seeing trash the way everyone else did." Sarah stood outside her workshop as the sun set over the farm. She watched her employees leave with smiles on their faces. Her son Ethan, now older, hugged her tightly. "You never gave up, Mum," she smiled. "No dream is too small if you're willing to work for it." Sometimes, the greatest opportunities are hidden inside the things the world throws away. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more heartwarming farm stories about courage, perseverance, and turning impossible situations into extraordinary success. Because sometimes, What others call waste becomes the foundation of a remarkable future.